evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of The Outer Realm with myself, Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. We are broadcasting live here via International Public Radio on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM in the beautiful city of New Orleans. Tonight we welcome back Carl Cookson and Hamilton White from the Lost Relics of the Knights Templar, and they'll be filling us in on what they're going to be doing and what they have coming up and how they've been keeping up with everything. A little bit of show and tell, of course, of relics, and of course just a whole lot of laughs because they're just full of shenanigans, as I say. So in order
I thought you were going to say something else.
No. So in order to participate in the show, you will notice that we are streaming throughout at least 8 different platforms here. However, tonight we're doing things a little bit differently. The only way that we're going to see any of your messages personally is if you go to YouTube on UFO Paranormal Radio. So subscribe and get right into that chat room. If you have any questions, if you basically have any comments and you want a reply to anything, we will not be seeing anything else tonight as we are streaming through Skype. So that's the way it's going to be. So get yourselves all ready for a great segment and this drink warning in effect, meaning you might just catch a laugh and blow a drink out your nose. Not kidding. So I would recommend you get ready for that. Yeah, that's what these guys do.
Boy. Okay.
I know. So a whole lot of fun. So I think I'm supposed to go and approve this.
I'm getting there. Yeah, going to
good.
Canada's Most Haunted right now.
Okay.
And then the group, because I can't get to I got to that one today.
Ooh, that's good.
Isn't that special?
Okay, so when you're done that, I'm going to get the gents on. Okay.
Haunted. There you go.
Calling now.
Sure.
And
okay. Oh. 6 pairs of glasses here.
Okay, so, and I need to go back and find Aunt Carl. Okay, so we're going to go in.
Hey, hi Wayne, hi Zachman. I can see you guys in the chat room. Not sure if you can hear me right now because we're just disappearing for a little bit as she brings everybody back in. Hi, Allison. How are you? If you guys can hear me, give me a hell yeah in the chat room, please. Just so I know, because I'm on pause on the screen, so I don't even know if this is running. So kindly, if you can hear me. Nothing. Chat room on YouTube. Yay! Thank you. I just wanted to make sure because Michelle's just bringing our guest on right now, so I wanted to make sure that you guys could hear me. And I'm not quite sure what you're seeing because, like I said, I'm on pause here as she brings the guest in. Hope you're having a great week. Things are definitely crazy around the world, but we're happy to see the U.S. opening up and different parts around the world that are finally coming back to normal. So I just want to say hi, Wayne. Hi, Zachman. Hi, Allison. All in the chat room. If you're listening to us right now and you want to participate in this show, you want to interact with our guests or with ourselves, please join us on YouTube chat only. It's free. You don't have to subscribe, but we'd appreciate a like, but hit that like and subscribe to us. And this way you don't miss anything at all. So we'll just give them a minute longer and see what happens here. So hope you guys are doing well. Looking forward to this segment. They're always a great laugh and there's always so much to talk about with them. And we're going to be seeing some new pieces today, which is exciting as well. So let's hope Michelle gets back on here shortly. What are we seeing on the screen right now? All is good. Yay, Wayne. Thank you. Just waiting on Michelle. No, able to, if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see on the show, we do book well in advance, but if there's any ideas or you want a guest on this show, just email us at theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com and we'll take a look. And if you need assistance with a case, please contact Michelle. If there's anyone who has a cold case or a missing, you can contact me through my website at ameliapisano.com, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at the case and help you as much as I can, whether that's through my abilities or who I know. So anyways, hopefully we'll be starting soon, because this is really weird talking to myself. I can't see anybody on the screen, but if Michelle can hear me, would be great. Hello, Wayne. I don't know quite what happened to her. So, recording the call. Yes, we are recording. Anything new with you guys? So, anyways, hopefully we'll get all of this going shortly. And I look forward to learning more about the Knights and Hamilton's recent trip to Portugal, as he's got more pieces. And we'll see what's going on with that. So where's Michelle? Oh, just look at that one. I can't see anything either. So anyways, maybe we'll talk about, have any of you guys seen any of the new paranormal shows on TV, and what do you like? Give me some feedback in the chat room. There's a few new ones streaming right now, and I've been seeing a lot about them, and I wanted to know which one's your favorite and what you look forward to, because Florida looks like it's changing just a little bit, so they look interesting. A new one called Haunted, which looks really interesting on, I believe it's on Netflix, that people are talking about, similar to the old days where the cases are there and the reenactments, which is really, really good. Zach, nothing much. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, I hear her.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
see
I
me
was
now?
just like mumbling and
No, that's okay,
nothing
because
much. Just
I'm
2
trying to
pounds
bring
away.
I'm trying to bring everyone else on, and they're not letting me. So I'm going to try this again, adding to the
Okay.
conversation, and I'm going to bring yet another one on. And let's just see. 1 second. So let's wait and do one at a time. Let's see if Carl comes on. We're ringing him. Guys, Skype.
Poor audience.
We go off Skype for a little bit, and all of a sudden everybody becomes illiterate, namely me. Okay, so I'm trying with Carl right now. Believe me, guys, it's definitely worth the wait. And
It definitely is, and sometimes there's issues when you're contacting UK at night. That just happens. But
you know what? Yeah, it really is a bit disconcerting here. So we're going to try this again. Because Hamilton's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. It's like, okay.
well, especially for them because it's so late. Well, really early. It's so early in the morning for them.
It
and it's
is for them for sure.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
are going to give this a try. Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm definitely here.
Oh, yay. I can't see your handsome
Hi.
face. Where are you hiding?
Hang
Gotta go
on.
on.
Let me find. Just have a bash. Try this one.
Hey.
Oh, there we are.
Yep, we got
Okay.
you.
Now, I think Carl is in.
Hi.
I have to try Carl again because he's showing as unavailable.
I want your hat, Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah. She's
I
a
want
bit of
your
a
hat.
weirdo. I don't know, you know. So
I
You
disappeared.
need to
What happened?
reproduce them. You need to reproduce them and sell them with your signature inside.
Oh God, I tell you what. Yeah, the joys of global fame. Yeah, terrific. Yeah, I don't know. I can see you two, but my own image has disappeared.
yours,
Yeah.
you see yourself up in the top right corner usually.
No.
Oh wow.
Are you on your phone, Hamilton?
Yeah.
Could be different.
Okay.
Well, I don't pass. I mean, I can assume you can see me. I don't know. I've just got no image of myself. Nothing.
We'll tell you if we can't. But yeah, you look great.
No,
Yeah, we do see you. I'm just messaging.
They
I'm
see
just
you.
messaging. Yeah, Carl, I can't get him at all. So we're
He's
trying.
got to take the unavailable off so that you can call through. Does it still ring through if you have unavailable? I don't know.
Yes, because that's how I got Hamilton.
Oh, wow. Because
I couldn't have come up as unavailable. Something happening.
Hello, Carl. Is that it's already an adventure? Like I'm getting feedback.
I'm not sure quite what's happening. All I can hear is like a weird double talk. I'm hearing everything.
Yeah, there's feedback. I'm not
Feedback,
quite sure
yeah.
where it's coming from.
Okay.
I'm here. Okay, so while he is in communication, I keep trying you.
Hang on. Shall I?
Yeah.
Shall I pop my computer open? Let me see if I can send him a message on Messenger. Let me see if I can get him that way.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go in and see if he's he says he's on hold. Okay, hang on. I'll try fresh. Okay, that's the problem. He's got to hang up. Yeah, he's got to hang up.
Oh.
Then I'll be able to bring him on at that point.
Okay, right. So what message have I got to give him?
I'm in contact with him now. He says I'm on hold. I'm like, I don't know how. This is crazy. So, okay. All right.
Turn him off then. Okay. He's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to try messaging him, but
This is good. Okay, so now I'm going to try him again.
Okay.
I'm going to go this way. What an adventure. Let the shenanigans begin. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go. There it is.
There he is.
Yes. Oh my freaking God.
Finally. You're so dark, though.
I can't see myself.
You still can't see?
No,
There
you
we go. That
can't, but
helps.
you're dark. It's okay. You're dark, but it's okay.
Let me put,
Hamilton's
just
like
fine.
lit up above you. Oh,
Where'd he go?
Oh, it's gone again.
hold on.
Oh my gosh, guys.
everybody's messaging me because I said, "Can you hear me?" So all my friends are texting me on my phone, going, "I can hear you. I can see you." I'm like, "Yeah,
Everybody's
but I
like,
can't
where are you? I'm like, I don't know. It's
Oh,
freaking
thank
Skype.
you.
I can't even see an image of me. Where do I?
No,
Yeah,
I
do you
have
see at the top right? Can you guys see it says at the top right?
I've just got like a little icon of
I don't even see myself. This is ridiculous too. I don't know.
No.
This is Skype. It's just being a little bit odd, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
It's like I've got
We
this
can
huge
see you.
30-inch screen, and you guys are there, and I'm like, where's my little picture? I can't see anything else, which is not. going to
Mine
be
is
me.
like an inch big in the
Oh.
corner, and I can't see shit from
Okay.
here.
See, this works. I don't know what the hell just happened, but
I
it
can't.
happened.
I took my glasses off and I can't see jack at all. Anyway, without
Yeah, I can't without
Just
mine
follow
either. They're on
along.
the
It's
top of my
okay.
head because they look better in my hair than they do on my face. So,
Yeah. Just follow along. You catch up. It's all right.
okay. Hamilton looks great.
Amelia's trying to con his hat from him.
I want his hat. Can you steal it and sell it to me, Carl? Like, just ship it.
I'll get
I want his hat. That's
He's-
all I want is the hat.
He's going to be down some limited edition versions of his hat signed with a.
Yeah, and then I want to like bedazzle it because I like everything sparkly. So
You want to
Honestly,
Yeah.
Hamilton, you're getting off cheap if you send the hat because I would be asking for a sword or a chalice.
I just want his hat. And the
You-
one that's on his head, it's not like,
You don't
Not
want
too
much.
difficult. You can have it when
No.
I retire. How about that? As a retirement.
oh, jeez. I'll
There won't be
dead
much
by
left
then.
to it then. He loves that hat. Oh my gosh.
I just want
Okay.
a copy. It doesn't have to be the original.
Oh, look at the chat
Aw.
room's already like active. Okay, so guys, we're here. Welcome. Tell us what the heck have you all been up to since like last time? What was it, April?
Yeah, I mean, we've been hanging around trying to get off to film the last bit of episode 5, really. And we're finally getting off on Saturday to do that. We're flying out to Spain, and then we're going to film around Spain and Montserrat, and then we're driving further down to Madrid, and then into Portugal, to Tomar and Lisbon to finish it off, and then
jealous.
yeah, it's going to be good. One of the best bits is going to be when we finish filming, because we're going to hang around for about a week and have a bit of a party, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, not really interested in the filming bit. Well, we're in Tomar. Is that what we're staying? Is it when we finish?
Yeah.
We
I've
have.
lost track on what we're doing.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
I mean,
hold on. We have feedback. coming
Who's
in.
got their
Which
volume up?
which one of you have your speakers coming out of your? Either one of you have a headset on?
I don't.
no, I don't own
Okay.
it.
Yeah, no, we don't usually have a problem. Okay, it's not coming from my end. Hamilton was just fine. Everybody, okay, maybe it was just like a moment. It's just, it could just be a bloody Skype thing too. So, okay, so
Lucky.
everybody's gonna celebrate. We have to get out of like the plague jail first. So,
Dear Christ, yeah.
Well, normally the official word for it is a rap party, but we never got one on the first series, did we?
We got nothing.
Well,
It was like, right, goodbye. See ya. I think
No,
I heard anybody
well,
for 6 months.
Well, I
I
think
think,
COVID and stuff, it just screwed it all up for us.
yeah, because I think there's gifts involved too. Like, it's a good idea to send a Canadian girl your hat. It gives you good luck when you're up. It gives you a second season.
Oh no, please, no. Thank God we
no,
can't.
she's pretty
Anyways.
freaking relentless. Like I said, you're getting off cheap.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
No, I mean, you've been here, haven't you, Carl? I went and had a couple of weeks in Portugal. When did I go? I've lost track of time. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, was it? Something like that. As soon as we could
no,
actually.
you were there last week, Hamilton.
That's it. Was it last week? Was it? Okay. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was just great to see some sunshine and just be anywhere except England. I mean, it was just bliss, sunshine, and walk about and get sunburnt.
Get
And I think-
sunburned. Yes, you did.
I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yes, you
That
did.
British skin. Yeah.
I looked like an absolute lobster. I mean, it was just, even I found it amusing. It was very funny. But no, I mean, other than that, we've just been waiting for the phone to ring. It's just impossible to organise anything at the moment.
You're not supposed to drink on the beach, though, because then you just pass out and you wake up and you're a whole other color. So it's not in favor. But, you know. So you look like you had quite some adventures. Did you find anything really exciting?
I was just catching up because I mean I hadn't been over there for it must be 6 months, or it might even be longer than that. When did we last go somewhere, Carl? We were in Turkey the end of last year. Have we been anywhere since then?
Hamilton's living in a fog.
Yeah,
We have.
Turkey was the last destination, wasn't it,
The
really?
last foreign trip.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing.
Did you go to Scotland?
I
Or
went
was that?
last week, actually.
Oh, okay.
I went up to a place called Crieff, which is near Perth. Very interesting. It's something we're working on at the moment, but I met a very fascinating lady who's got a painting by Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh,
We went to
wow. Like an original painting? That's
Yeah.
almost unheard of to find one that's not in a museum or super private collections.
It's,
We're at the
it's
Vatican.
known as the Lost Commission. And
Wow.
it's incredible. It's a Madonna and Child, but it's loaded with symbolism, the painting, and it's absolutely incredible. But I was going to stay there longer, and after the meeting, I was there for a couple of days, and then I drove around. I thought I'll go on the west coast and stay in one of these nice little fishing ports, you know. And I drove up to Arbroath, which was quite nice. We stopped for a snack. They do these things called smokies, and what they are, they're like a pie with.
A smoky is a pie. I love it.
It's smoked haddock. So it's like a fish pie with cheese on
Oh,
it.
you just lost Michelle as soon as you said fish.
I went,
Michelle's just like,
horrible.
in dough.
I'm the seafood
Hamilton
person.
and I
I'll
would
eat
be off
anything
somewhere
wrapped in
eating
pizza
freaking
dough.
junk food and drinking. You guys
Yeah,
would be
and I'd
eating
be
probably
eating,
refined
and I'd
food.
be eating really well.
I know, it's like, what?
Well,
I'd
Hamilton
be
and I'd
like
be looking for
crunching the
like
crab and everything.
street meat, like a hot dog or something.
Exactly.
Oh no, hot dogs are good. But anyways, smoked
Well-
haddock. You lost me at smoked. I don't like
Anyway,
anything smoked.
Well, I
But-
bought them. I thought, well, I'll eat it later. But the plan was to stop at it, like to find a nice sort of fishing port, book into a hotel in a pub, and go for fish and chips and then get drunk. But every fishing village we pulled in, they were beautiful. But what was remarkable
Yeah.
about them, there wasn't one pub or one cafe or one restaurant. Not even when I say there wasn't one, there wasn't one open. There wasn't a pub in the harbour. There wasn't a cafe in the harbour. So we tried the next one, the next one, the next one, and it's getting late now. So I'm thinking, I can't even get anywhere to stay. So headed to a place called St Andrews, which probably great if you like golf, but I don't do golf. We headed there. That was a cracking looking place, but a bit golfy. So go to that.
Golfy, I like it.
Golfy.
I'll
Bit
get to
golfy.
Edinburgh. Edinburgh's going to work because there's loads of, bars and restaurants, and I've never actually been. And just as I got to the outskirts, all these big signs on the motorway said Edinburgh's under COVID-2 restrictions, which means basically you go to a hotel and what you order your drinks and your food in your room, and it's like £200 a night. I thought, I'm not paying that. So I ended up driving home the same night. So I got home after a 12-hour drive. Shattered.
And then he was knackered and
I
slept for
was.
days.
That's hopeless. Absolutely hopeless, isn't it? I didn't realise Scotland was locked up again like that.
Yeah, and the other funny thing about Scotland, I love the place, it's beautiful, but in England, in between a town or a village, you'll have a pub on a country lane, and Scotland doesn't have halfway houses. They're either in the town or they're not.
Okay, a halfway house in Canada, Carl, is where prisoners go to do their parole.
You get out of jail
So
and you go to a halfway house.
And
that
you go to a
brings you into
halfway house
society.
until your parole is over.
Right.
Just letting you know, don't look for a halfway house if you come to Toronto,
Yeah,
because you'll get
yeah.
one.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
You make lots of friends.
Lots of friends. You might lose a
Yes.
car, but you'll get
Yes.
you'll have lots of friends.
Yes. So,
We're just hoping when we get back over to Spain. I mean, I know Portugal's okay, but hopefully Spain will be open up so we can actually have some form of existence as opposed to being locked up. Really, it's all getting rather frustrating. I have to say, it's just ridiculous.
There's amazing food in Spain.
Yeah, there's McDonald's. There's loads of them. We get Barcelona with
that's one place I can't do. I just can't. Sorry, McDonald's.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. I won't go there because we're on like mega international radio, so I don't need hate mail.
Yeah, it's only good if you're hungover.
I
Not
don't
even. Not even.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, Hamilton.
Okay.
You don't
Not
actually.
hungover. Really knackered.
I'll
maybe.
drive you through the drive-through
really
if you come to
knackered.
Toronto. I'll take you through the drive-through, Hamilton. I'll make you a
yeah.
homemade burger.
Oh, drive
Yeah.
down the dogs, honestly.
My French fries and my burgers are a lot better than theirs.
Can't be. It's not possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's real meat. It's shocking.
I don't see the point. Why do people bother to make burgers when you can just go to McDonald's and get one? Why do I go all the time?
The hell did you just say? No,
where's the
homemade
sandwich?
is always better. Restaurant, just no. You have to draw the line somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
all right. But no, I mean, we're just looking forward to getting out. Did you get any tickets come through today, Carl?
No.
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 same here.
Well, we'll just turn up at the airport and tickets will be on the with the airline, which we don't need. You don't get tickets now, do you? Like them lovely
No.
card tickets, which
No, it's on your phone. You just scan your phone,
Oh, okay.
which is great because I usually do the upgrade 24 hours before, so I get it for half the price.
Okay.
That's how you
I
get
want
it.
the seat that I want. I don't give a crap what it costs.
Yeah,
That freaking
no.
seat.
I
No.
wait till 24 hours ahead and I go into first class or business and I get it for half, if not even less.
Oh, does it seem like there's that there are two shows? He's confused. Sorry, Wayne Murphy. I think you have two shows. No, we're streaming across 8 platforms. If you're listening, Wayne, we're connected through StreamYard, which could have been why we're glitching, but we're on probably 8 different places right now, video. So
Yeah.
it's all
And
good.
Facebook.
But
If you need to participate, you have to come in through YouTube.
he found me on Messenger. So he found the
Okay.
back
I know
way in.
everybody's texting me. I'm like,
No.
just go to YouTube and talk to me.
there's no escape, is there, at all? Everyone can get you.
Oh, yeah, one way or another, man, to find me for sure. But
What was the thing you were saying that the show had been up for some award or something? A People's thing in California?
People's
What's the
Choice
one?
Award, yes, People's Choice Award in California, and I'm just my bad because I really should know more about it.
There you
But
go.
we were nominated,
We're
you know,
super humble.
and it is a real privilege because I mean, technically the show's been on a couple of years, you know, and with the network, like I don't know, maybe about 15 months. So we have a humongous international audience. So we're really, you know, honored, but we'll wait and see what happens. Don't expect to win the first time. It'd be great. People get out there and freaking vote. But, you know, but if we don't, we're still really honored to have been nominated. So it's bringing
this is the first
extra
time you
people.
mentioned it.
We're bringing extra people on, you know, people are coming to watch the show in the network, people who've never even heard of us, so it's that much more listenership that's coming forward, and voting I think is just opened up and it goes on until the end of, I don't know, October, something like that. There'll be more information on it on Friday evening. Luckily, I got back-to-back shows to do Friday evening. I'll be at 4 hours. My eyes are going to be, but yeah, so thanks for
you
that.
get to go to
Thanks, Joe.
California to some Oscar-like ceremony?
No, I don't think. Nobody told me anyway.
We're not going.
We're in COVID jail still, so we're going anywhere.
We
I'm
can't
hoping for
cross
October will be
provinces
free.
right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't even cross provinces right now.
That's ridiculous.
So
Yeah, hear that, JT?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I'm just saying. That's our prime
Yeah.
minister.
pink
Yeah.
pants. Pink
Oh,
pants.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, but if anything, like I say, it's just giving, you know, people a chance to check us out who aren't familiar with us and all of our amazing guests such as yourselves. And you know, tonight's sort of like I said, the shenanigans night, which is great. Everybody's like, oh yeah, great. You know. So
Have an argue about something. Yeah, okay. Shall we get the name of the coffee company wrong again and get it over and done with?
oh, let's just do that.
Okay.
Do you have your chalice? Because we have to drink out of it. So
Okay. Hang on, bear with me.
just pick one. How many you got? I'm sure there's one you can just pluck off a shelf somewhere. Dig deep, Hamilton. It's there somewhere.
No, we haven't got a temple one. They're all wrapped up. We'll just have to make do with a regular medieval one tonight.
Oh, is that all? It'd be a pity, but
That'll
oh,
work.
So we can see it.
That
we're
would work.
starting now, aren't we?
So well done.
What is
to-
that made of? There you go.
This is right.
Here we are. See,
From-
Hamilton's the only one with a fancy cup.
There you go. So fantastic.
I got the
sponsors
toddler
of-
sippy thing, but I am the baby here, so.
I've forgotten what their names. Fogglestein.
Sound it out, Hamilton. It's Folgers.
Folger coffee.
Use your words. Yeah, use your words. That's good.
Yeah.
So
We got
Got
it.
now.
Folgers. See,
so
I'm
tell
hiding my
us
nails
about-
because the nail salon isn't open. Folgers.
there we go.
Okay,
See, take a
Folgers.
screenshot. You'll remember it next time.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Right, we've messed that up for you. What's next?
So tell us about the little chalice, medieval chalice you're holding. Or did you find that at the bottom of a river somewhere, or what? Like,
No, I bought that in Switzerland years ago.
Right.
it's just a pretty object, and it's nothing Templar. It's later than that. It's probably, I don't know, 15th, 16th century, something like that.
Still, it's still very exciting. It doesn't have to be Templar. I didn't find anything that has some history to it. It's pretty impressive.
No, it's just a very pretty object. I don't know why. I mean, it's just, what can you say about it? It's just nice. It's just a very pleasing thing to hold. I've never drunk out of it. I mean, you'd probably get some horrible disease. It's full of green sort of
Awesome.
vertebrae. No. I just thought, hang on, stay there, amuse them,
I'm
Carl.
scared.
Yes, Carl, amuse us.
You've been talking to production company about series 2, because obviously they put it all together now with the narrator and the music, and he said it's looking fantastic. So we'll only get to see it when everyone else gets to see it in September. So it'll be quite interesting to see what it's like. Yeah.
Oh,
When's it going to come to Canada so I can see it? Because I haven't been able to watch it. I can't even get a clip on YouTube, like nothing.
I have American television, so I see everything. Unfortunate, but we still have to wait.
She can walk to the U.S. from her house, so she gets American TV.
I know.
Mine's a little bit longer of a walk.
Seriously, yeah, it's great. It's a little bit of a perk, I suppose, but yeah, but I mean, it still airs in the UK first, right? So it'll probably be months before we see it.
They're going to do back to back with Series 1, leading up to Series 2. So anybody in the UK, and they probably do that the same in the States. I imagine when
they will
Discovery broadcast it, because it leads it through, and it's slightly different than Series 1 in that it's not all Templar related, but it's all sorts and stuff. It's all everything's related anyway in reality. You know, because what's happened when we've been filming this series is you're doing an episode that we can't say what the episodes are, but you're dealing with one subject matter, and you realise that it's all interconnected. You know, all the stories and all the places. You're jumping back and forwards in history, but all the same places and the same dynamics are all coming into play with different stories. So I think that's what's been interesting for me to see that. You know, like if you look at, for example, in Galicia on the northern part of Spain, you've got the pilgrim route, there's Camino, on the road to Santiago de Compostela. But actually, prior to St. James, making it the place of veneration, it was coveted and venerated by Celts for 4,000 years ago. That used to follow the Milky Way, because the Milky Way runs across the same path as the Camino. And I think that's quite. We see that with churches, don't we, Hamilton? With they're usually built on.
On much older sites, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the whole going across northern Spain, everybody just sees it as the Camino, but it isn't. I mean, there are much older paths going across there, and I found that was far more interesting than the Christian aspect of it. And it's something to do with the way the planets align, wasn't it, over the route? I forget exactly.
It's the direction of the Milky Way. It follows it. If you look at the Milky Way, it literally runs a line across the same direction from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port all the way to Santiago de Compostela, and that's the kind. So
you can go a little bit further, can't you? I mean, we didn't, but there's about another hour, and it takes you to Finisterre, which is right on the as far west as you can possibly get. And that was the end of the older route, wasn't it? To actually get to the water and look out over the water, I think was what we were told.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's another story in itself, the whole. I mean, that takes you back to the Celts and
yes,
Neolithic period. So and like when we went to Short last year, for part of this second series, and again that's built on an ancient site over springs. If you go to London, where the temple is in City, that's built on an ancient spring which was worshipped, and supposed to
But
have
that's
magic.
normal, wasn't it? Like for the churches to all build over these incredible power spots and older temples, like they would incorporate some of the, like even pagans, like, I mean, the church wasn't a fan of pagans, but they incorporated everything pagan, and made it their own over time. So you see that a lot throughout Europe.
Totally. I mean that's it. It's two things. I mean, well, it's more than two things, but one, you can eradicate a previous belief system by stealing that site and putting your brand on the site. But the other aspect is that the new religion or the new brand that's sitting on top of it, as much as they're trying to eradicate the previous belief system, it obviously believes that there's some power and authority in that environment that pre-exists. So that in its own right, shows you the previous, the previous aspect that people were, going to those sites and venerating them and feeling energy or whatever the power that is in those sites still exists and is valued by, whether it's the Catholic Church, the Vatican, or Islam, or any church really. They're all looking for these powerful positions to promote their own brand, I suppose.
No, it's exciting.
It is. I mean, you noticed it most when we were over in Israel, that on the Temple Mount, going from the initial Jewish thing several thousand years ago to Islam to Christianity and back again, all within what's a few hundred yards of each other, isn't it, on the top of the mount?
Yeah, I mean, the old town of Jerusalem's an incredible place anyway.
Fabulous.
I know when we got there that there's, it's split into four quarters effectively. You've got the Jewish quarter, the Muslim quarter, the Christian, Roman Catholic quarter, and then you've got the Armenian quarter. They've been there for so long, and I think everyone gets on generally. I know there's trouble, flare-ups all the time, but there seems to be, they seem to manage to coexist without too much trouble over the centuries.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, I guess they all leave their mark at some place. Every time you conquer a location, you'll see little bits and pieces of how many times it had been conquered. And that, to me, that's pretty exciting, because it just goes to show you how many layers there are to some of these locations. It's just, I love history. Like, I'm a history fanatic. So for me, especially ancient history, it's always been something that I've enjoyed and excelled in. And when you see it all in person, it's just nothing that the history books can teach you. Carl, I think you spoke often about your father telling you medieval stories, and you got so much into it. But now that you're seeing all of this for yourself, it's got to have an entirely different feel. You really get a better understanding for it,
Yeah, it kind of compresses time in a way that when you're a kid, you read books and they're totally. You can use your imagination to. As a child, you view it differently anyway than a grown up. When you grow up, you kind of detach from that, and you don't have the same ability to play with history like you did when a child. But when you're doing what we're doing, or people who read books, you get creative and you start to look at it. I've found that it doesn't seem as far away as it used to in my mind. The closer you study it, the closer the past comes forward, and it feels you can relate to the people more. You realise they are real people. They're not. They have the same consciousness that we had, and the same sort of desires and joys and sadnesses, and they had their ups and downs like modern humans. They had desires, they had ambitions, they had, they had dreams and dreams that were broken. I mean, sadly, a lot of people did die young in the past, and we're lucky in that way that our lifespans are increasing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people died. You died when you was like 30, 35, 40, and that was a good innings, So we get to look at, I mean, that
No.
it's like
Yeah. Progress.
Penicillin
has its perks, like age.
Penicillin has its perks. Penicillin does. King
penicillin
Henry VIII could have used penicillin.
could use quite a bit of penicillin for what he was up to, But it's too short anyway, isn't it? Life. I mean, if you had 1,000 years, it would still be too short. So we have to just hope. Hamilton wants to check out quickly, I think.
Oh my gosh, Hamilton! You have too much to do. Forget about it.
I'm with Hamilton.
Yeah, there's so many things, they're going on that you're going to come back, you're having another life and all this reincarnation. I'm not coming back, I'm out of here. Trust me, I've done enough.
That's what everybody says.
I don't want to come back. I don't want to go to school again.
Enough, honestly.
Seriously, it was just enough. No.
What if you come back? Imagine if you snuff it and the next thing you wake up and you've got a shell on your back and your tentacles are popping up. I mean, what would you think if that was your lot?
I think what a happy life. I'm by the beach. That's my dream, is to live out the rest of my years on the beach.
Well,
you can have the beach.
I was talking to somebody the other day about previous lives, and people, when they meet mediums or people who can see what you might have been in the past and that, and the problem is when you talk, people go, "Oh yeah, I've been told in the past I was a prince, or I was nobody was a bin man, were they, or garbage collected in the street."
But I think there are, because you can live like 400 or 500, 1,000 prior lives. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about the grand scheme of, let's say if you're going back to Atlantis, that's 10,000 years ago. You could have been like a street sweeper. I think people just lean towards those more.
You say it though, that I was just I used to pack shelves at the supermarket in my previous life, but everyone seems to be a prince or a famous.
That's true.
Nobody does mundane stuff in the previous life, so unless all these places are very populated by millions of princes and
I think it's just selective. You're like, screw that. I'm doing this in this life. I'm going to lean on that life, and I don't want to hear about all the rest, But
yeah, I mean, we found it particularly amongst the sort of the crew that are down in the zone in the southwest of France. Everybody's a reincarnated. They were at Montségur. They were a prince. I mean, we'd never met a normal person, have we? Not one.
I'm normal. You met me. For the most part, I'm normal. I've never been a queen or anything like
I'm
that.
not normal.
Most of my lives I've died young. Yeah, I've died very young in most of my lives.
If anybody asks me, no, I haven't been anywhere before and I'm not coming again. So you just have to make do with what's here at the moment.
You can just keep on with that. But,
Yeah,
we'll let you have it just because. We'll just let you have it, but we know different.
I want to come back as my dog owned by me. That's what I want to come back as. Versace owned by Amelia. Yeah. You've got the best life.
But no, I mean the whole religiousy thing. I mean, we've been to some fabulous places, like that really are the centre of religions, or pilgrimages. But to me, there's like nothing registered in the way of sort of, hey, religion's great. The whole thing is fascinating, and I mean, the history surrounding all of the places is brilliant. But I just get a different take on it from Carl. That the whole suddenly, no, I don't really want to do any praying, still doesn't do it for me. I want to just go and look at the lovely buildings instead. I mean, you pick up differently, don't you, Carl? You tune in much better to that aspect.
It's not tuning in. It's, and you don't believe in anything beyond this realm, and I do. That's the difference.
He believes in reincarnation though, because he doesn't want to do it. So he's got to have a belief in it a little bit.
He has fear in it, so yeah.
Maybe he does believe, but he just doesn't say. But I believe. I'm totally confident that when your spacesuit wears out, you go back to the dimension that you came from, and your consciousness is ungoverned then, because I think when you come here, they put like a governor on your consciousness and your intelligence, so you're probably throttled on this earthly realm by 1,000th of what your conscious may be, or maybe it's 10,000 or 10 million. But when your spacesuit fails, and that's the time when you don't die, you just go back to where you came from. When you go back, your consciousness is completely open then, and maybe you'd have a holiday from Earth. For somebody said you get 1,000 years for every year you was on the planet. Rest. So your vacation, if you snuff it at 80, you've got 80,000 years to lark about in the universe.
I wonder. That's an interesting concept.
That's what I heard. And then somebody else said something fantastic. He said, well, what would you do when you die? And he said, well, God created such a massive universe. He needs architects and designers and people to build and form these planets to create paradises for everybody. And if you want to do that when you die, you can have your own galaxy and say, right, and what a fantastic prospect that would be to say, right, look, we've got 15 planets in this one to work on. I've got 80,000 celestial years to work them. And I've got God's will to do what I want with them. And I can terraform planets just by thinking of an idea. And this one's going to have peach sky in the morning and purple sky at night. This one's going to have turquoise sky with raspberry ripples running through and pink sea. And,
so you're going to be the guy with the little
song.
notepad saying, hey God, I have an idea. Hey God, can we do this? You said, can we do it?
Yeah, I think he'll just give you a toolkit to just do it. Say, fill your boots, and if you get naughty and do what Lucifer did, then he'll come down hard on you.
It can work against you for sure. So absolutely.
I think you're having a schizoid embolism, aren't you there, Hamilton?
Well, I think all of this is going to your head a little bit. You're one stage away from the guys who are wandering down the street in a caftan banging a tambourine at people. So I think you need to sort of maybe calm down a little bit.
You're one of the tambourine people.
Oh my god!
Pointing your tambourine when we walk by. What is that?
I would hope you'd give him more than a coin. He's got a nice hat.
I know, but he might not have a hat if he was in another life. That's the Hamilton this life. But if you're 80,000 years up there, no wonder people are like screaming to get back here. So I don't know.
Go to after that. Maybe this is a down level, and it might be that you're on that. Upper dimension. We tend to think of up, down, left, right, linear dimensions, but there's many other dimensions. We can't even comprehend the potential dimensions, what it means to even conceptualize.
You can live in multiple dimensions at a time. So part of you can be taking your break, and other parts of you can just be living other lives.
That'd be very productive, wouldn't it?
Oh, you'd be very busy,
dangerous.
I'm sure. I know.
Wayne Mello says, I've thought that for years, Carl. Good on you, mate. He's also from England, so.
Yeah.
What happens if you go to this place for 80,000 years and you don't like your neighbour?
I love that.
But if you don't like your neighbor, like right now?
Just boot him out and watch him fall. That's all.
Yeah, you don't like your neighbours anyway, so what do you do about it now?
Yeah.
What do you do
Well,
about
Hamilton's like,
neighbours?
that's an idea.
You put up a really big fence.
Yeah, or just move.
Move
Or
to a better
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Move.
That's what we do now.
Or be diplomatic and friendly and make friends and get to like them.
He's like, what?
Huh? I'm a little bit like
That would
Hamilton. I
require
think
me
I'm
talking to
more
people.
private.
See?
Yeah.
No,
I live in the
totally
country.
get you. The same
Yeah.
way.
I live in the country for a reason.
Well, maybe your universe can just be that it's got a force field around it. Nobody else can come in except you, and you can be on
Yeah.
your own for 80,000 years. How does
Yeah,
that sound?
Perk, you
That's
learn a thing
okay.
or
As
two
long
after
as
that
as
amount
long
of
as
time.
I have Turks and Caicos at my fingertips, I'm good.
I think
Yeah.
it's a planet,
Okay.
don't
I
they?
will be traveling. I'm not hanging out anywhere. I'm going to travel around in the ether, just, spook the people that I don't really like, and maybe a few that I
Got a
actually
list.
like. And and then just go around and travel. And, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be busy. I'm always busy. I cannot see myself just sitting somewhere. I can't sit
No,
on a
Michelle's
beach
gonna
and
leave
waste
messages
precious
on
time.
people's mirrors.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
would be.
You're
And
gonna
then
leave
pop out of
messages.
people's mirrors. Yeah, that works. Okay.
Yeah, if you could come back and make a nuisance of yourself, yeah, that would be different. Maybe that would be. Yeah. Yeah.
There, you see,
Yeah.
there's already a light at the end of your tunnel, Hamilton. So you're getting some ideas.
Yeah. I mean, the only.
Hamilton's he's gonna build himself a McDonald's in his
Yes.
his 80,000 years.
No, don't tell me there's freaking McDonald's over there.
It'd be very depressing if you went.
Cheapers, come on.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. Just,
What's wrong with you lot with McDonald's? I think it's okay. There's a time and place for McDonald's.
I believe it's different in the UK and in Europe. Because my cousin came from Rome and she had it here and she said, "Oh my God, it tastes so different." But she preferred it here, where I prefer it there.
oh, everything glows in the freaking dark here.
So does the wine
Honestly.
I drink, but it doesn't matter.
I can. Oh my
stop
God, he's got a
drinking the
freaking
wine?
golden arch. Oh, for Pete's sakes!
Oh my
You would
God.
have one too, wouldn't you?
Yes.
What exactly do you do with that, though? Does it
just
glow?
Yes, really.
Modern art. Wonderful.
Does
Modern.
it go at the top of your Christmas tree?
I don't do Christmas. I hate Christmas.
Just put it over a
hate
door,
Christmas?
and yet next thing you just have like an arch.
It's just a great thing, If
You would have one. Why am I not surprised you actually have
Oh
one?
my God. But Hamilton hates Christmas. Now you lost me.
He does.
That's it.
Halloween's my favorite holiday. Just saying.
No,
I decorate for that. I don't for everything else.
I love Christmas.
About 4 years
I love
ago-
Christmas. I could have a tree up all year.
It's the spirit. It's what's
About 4
inside.
years ago, I went up to Hamilton's and I took some presents for him and his mum, and I got there before Christmas. And when I knocked at his door and had these boxes, he had this puzzled look on his face. He said, "What are they?" I said, "Oh, it's just a few presents for you and your mum." And he was totally perplexed, wasn't he?
Utterly. We don't do presents at all. We just don't bother with it.
Oh,
Did he throw you a relic?
love
Here.
I mean, it
I
was great.
didn't have time to get you anything.
No, we
No, he
Shop
don't,
at
doesn't believe in
Hamilton's.
it.
we
I
don't
know.
make excuses. We just don't bother. But no, I mean, Carl bought this great big box, and I mean, like on Christmas Day, me and Mum opened it, and it was like a Super Fortnum and Mason's hamper.
Wow.
We didn't quite know what to do. It's like,
Because you don't exchange gifts. So it's just like this primitive thing going, what do we do with it?
yeah, I mean, what's the
We
catch? I mean,
reciprocate?
what's it all about? It was just, I don't know about this. We'll put this somewhere and
Oh
think
my
about this a bit.
gosh.
Hey, not everybody celebrates. Not everybody celebrates.
No, they
I
don't.
love to
celebrate
give at
all
Christmas. I
year.
do. I love giving gifts.
Yeah.
I love giving gifts all the time.
Next
All
year.
year. Michelle and I are good at surprising each other with gift cards and things just out of the blue. We're
just
really
like-
good at that.
Great gift. The gift of giving.
Yeah, she'll tell me she's driving somewhere, and then all of a sudden I'll just send her a Starbucks gift card. I go, "Here, I
It's
want to
like
buy you
summer.
coffee." She's
I
like,
know.
"Oh my God, yes!"
I know. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
woo,
I think
It's
that's part.
fun.
I'm gonna get high on sugar now. That's
My
great.
nephew's
Not
gonna
too
kill
much
me because
better
I just ordered a whole bunch of chocolate and chips and everything for his kids, for my nephew's kids, because school's done. He's gonna kill me, and I know he's not watching because he's watching them, but he's gonna kill me tomorrow.
That's it.
It's
Why are
just
the kids up?
nice.
That works. Do you not like your
They
brother?
rule. Rule.
So-
They rule the house. They rule the house.
Well, it's more
Yeah.
sensible if you see something. Oh, whatever. Mum would like a book, or odd bits and pieces. Well, why
Yeah.
can't you just
Or
give it
diamond
to?
earrings.
Why do you have to turn around? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey.
You can only have something on the 25th of December. You'll have to wait 8 months. It's a stupid system. Absolutely
You
ridiculous.
never have to wait 8 months. It's just that date is special because everybody has that spirit. It's about the spirit. I do a lot of charity at Christmas.
I'm sorry, the
That's what
Christians
works
will
for
say
me.
different.
Well, I'm sorry, but yeah,
Okay.
I was raised Roman
And
Catholic.
I
I
usually
was
bring
raised
it
Roman
down with the
Catholic, but I
pagan story.
disagree.
So
Yeah, I disagree with that part. With
no, dates
anyways,
are all wrong. It's the spirit
they
of
are
giving.
all
But the
wrong.
Christians will say, no, that's
Well, it's
commercial.
funny
Christmas,
because
that's
the
not
church has no
Christian.
trouble taking my yeah, but the church has no trouble taking my check at Christmas.
It's like trouble. I know.
So
Or the new roof. You know.
The other
You
thing that
know.
I would point out,
right.
with all of the church rattling on about Christmas and all and that, well, wasn't it the Roman Catholics that nailed him up in the first place?
What was the
Thank you, Hamilton.
Catholics? It was the Romans. There was no
Was it?
Roman
Was
Catholics then.
Catholics not being invented there?
Not then, no.
Okay.
I think Saint Peter had to get to Rome first before that, and that was about 200 years after Jesus was crucified. So not
And
200.
then he was
It had to,
crucified upside down.
yeah, it had to
So
be his lifetime, didn't it?
It's
So I
a
think
whole
about 30
melee.
years after Jesus was crucified, Saint Peter went to Rome.
Yeah.
And that was the germ of it, and he actually became the first pope.
Right.
So it wasn't till Jesus was crucified that the notion of the church even began, really, for Christianity. And that's the first Christian church was the Armenian Church in 301, the Orthodox apostolic. The apostolic.
They have beautiful churches.
Yeah, they do. There used to be, in Armenia, there's a valley called a Valley of 1,000 churches. And there was thousands of churches, but obviously over the years, a lot of them have been sacked with with a lot of the things that went on there. But that was the first kind of church, really, that started it all off. And even the Orthodox Church split. That had a schism. So you've got a big split going on there, But,
I love the architecture. They did it right. I mean, I have pieces that I'll buy and incorporate. Confectional door becomes the entrance into the parlors. It's just I love the architecture of it all. Yeah, there's a couple of new pieces. No, that's just the background. There's two other ones. The two other pieces.
No, but I mean, you have that piece from a church, right?
They all come from, yeah.
We've got an incense burner, haven't we, Hamilton? It's like a little kind of not an incense burner, but like we think it might have held frankincense or
yes,
little church. And I got something out today. Me and Hamilton were talking about what could we show something on the show. So
goody, show and tell.
I decided not to show more chalices because we don't want to chalice people out. We think people might get overload.
It's always fun, whatever you guys share with us, because it's just something that people aren't going to see, whether it's Templar related or something you found in your travels. Anything that's got history is always exciting.
Well, I don't know what you brought, Hamilton. What was you? Oh, I got all sorts around me. You dig out, I know I just left it to you. Okay, well, I brought this, and I'm going to put a light behind it. I don't know whether you can see that.
Oh, wow.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Maybe
Up a
without
little
the
bit
light.
higher.
Let's see.
So it's a plate. It's got Croix Celeste on it,
and it's got the Latin initials IHS.
Take the light away. All I
Pardon?
can see is bright orange.
Oh, can you? Let me turn the light off. Is that any better?
Yes, it doesn't
Yeah.
have a glare on it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So we see the cross in there. There,
Oh,
that's
there we go.
beautiful.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's got the Croix Celeste on it, and it's
Bring it up just a little bit.
yeah, and it's inscribed with IHS, which stands for In Hoc Signo Vinces, which means by this sign we will conquer. And it's interesting because what happened Constantine saw that sign in his dream, which was the sign of the cross, and that gave him the confidence to sack and conquer Rome. But it was also saw by King Alfonso Enrique, who was the king of Portugal, and he was a Templar leader in 1135, I think it was, and he saw that sign the night before they were going into battle against the Almoravid Moors in Portugal. They were led by a guy named Ali ibn Yusuf, and he saw this sign in the sky, and the next day it gave him the confidence to go and fight and wage war, and he won. So it's just great to actually see the cross and that coming together there in one
Yeah,
piece.
that's a beautiful piece.
It's an agate or something.
Wow.
Very
Really?
translucent. It's beautiful. It's finely carved. It looks like it's turned and then engraved somehow, but a really fine dish.
It's in beautiful condition. How old do you estimate this? This is when?
Well,
It's Templar period or possibly earlier.
yeah.
Wow.
All of the agate pieces may very well have come from Constantinople.
Wow.
It
That
is
was
possibly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Originally.
yeah.
And it's translucent, you can see through it. I don't know whether you can see there, but it's in some parts, it's virtually almost like clear glass. So it's a crystalline kind of mineral that it's made from, because agate comes in many different colours and different opacities.
Mhm.
Some of it's really translucent, and some of
It's
it.
really held up. I mean, it's a beautiful piece. The carvings still appear to be very crisp. They're very detailed.
Well, it's quite possible that's another one of the pieces that could have been inlaid in gold, because the actual sort of carved images into it.
Right.
You can't say for sure, but it's not impossible that was inlaid with gold, the same as some of the chalices were.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's a beautiful piece.
I love agate.
What the purpose of it is, we don't know.
On the cross, there's a dome in the centre that protrudes out. This actual section here is actually a dome, and I think Hamilton's right. It was almost certainly inlaid in some precious metal, but it's fantastic. And looking at that, the other symbol that sits alongside that's the famous Chi-Rho. The Christian symbol that the Vatican use, which is like. How would you describe? Have you got an example at Hamilton, or how would you describe it?
Not to hand. I mean, it's two letters from the Greek alphabet that is supposed to be like an abbreviated version of the word Christ, isn't it? But it's depicted in sort of a symbol as opposed to actually writing the full word. And I mean, that goes back really to the very, very early Christian period, the sort of Constantine the Great period.
Constantine cross, isn't it, in part? The actual cross, and it's got like a staff that runs through the centre with a P, kind of.
Let me see if I can.
Right. Yes.
What was said about that was the Templars would actually saw that as when Templars are buried, they usually cross the legs and bones. They usually break the bones. This is where the skull and crossbone comes from. A lot of the grave markers.
Oh, interesting.
Templar graves. And have a skull on the top and the crossbones. And
Yes.
it has actually been said that there was, I don't know how true it was, that potentially that there was originally the first pirates were not necessarily pirates.
They
They
were
were
Templars.
Templars that use that symbol, because you'll see on certain grave markers the skull and crossbones, and it's
Mhm.
interesting that it's come from the Chiro, that whole idea. So the Constantine thing comes through on this, this IHSV. That's being used, and the idea of seeing a vision in the sky to follow the cross. It's all gone through for us. Hamilton said from the Byzantine period and Constantine.
Yeah.
Now,
So I mean, the
ca-
Templars are certainly picking up on ideas that had already been running for sort of 800, maybe longer, when they picked it up. And the same thing is on several of the other vessels as well, in different sizes. So, I mean, they were running with what was already a very ancient belief system.
mhm. Um, may I ask, does this piece come from the Tomar Horde, or was
Yeah,
this? Oh, it does really. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I think I can't remember how, I think there's 4 or 5 agate pieces that all totally different. I think or maybe there's 6. I can't remember. God, some of this stuff I haven't actually seen for years. It's all
No.
created up. Carl's in charge of it. I forget what's actually up there now. But
Hmm.
I think there's 5
Pity.
or 6 pieces.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's funny because our gates, the people, you wonder, you think of the Templars as being these, because they believed in piety and, poverty and modesty and all, chastity. So everything they touched was going to be very austere and brutally masculine. But
That's right.
actually, they did have fine vessels. And one of the things what we've been looking into, which is interesting, if you talk about, for example, cups and grails and stuff like that, if you go back to the old Passover Jewish rituals, before they drink from a vessel, it's got to be cleansed, to make it kosher. And one of the great things about stuff like agate and stone is it's not porous. So for a high ritual, they would never have used pottery that wasn't glazed, or they would never have used wood, because it would hold, it would be impure before a ritual. But with something like that, which is agate, you can be sure that there's no crevices or areas where food or contamination could have occurred. It could have been made pure and clean. And the Templars were very, very well known for living long lives. And one of the things they were always doing was washing properly before meals, and rituals were all about cleanliness and hygiene. And it must come back to pre Jesus days with Jewish rituals, and how they looked after themselves. And that's why some of these ritual bowls we're seeing are so fine, and so they come from they probably come from very wealthy people before they were acquired by the Templars and rebranded, as you can see with some of them, and some of them commissioned in that material from inception.
I think the lifestyles, I mean, didn't they base it on the Gnostics and the Essenes and the Cathars, and that just sort of carried through a little bit? Um, I thought I read at one point that the Cathars were practically vegan, except for fish, because for some reason they didn't think fish fell under vegan menu. But I think in some of the literature that I've read that the Templars weren't far off. I mean, they did indulge in meat and things like that, but just not often.
Well,
By the standards of the medieval period,
Mhm.
they were leading actually quite cultured lives in terms of food and drink and
Mm.
how they were functioning. I mean, they were way above the common man. They were
Yeah.
doing certain days where they would be fasting. I think you only ate meat a certain number of times during the month. I mean, it was very well organised, but in its period probably would have seemed very strange to the rest of the world. But when you look at it now, it was probably very close to being a healthy, balanced diet.
Yeah. So also, when we were talking about this when we filmed in Israel last time, that they would have had the cuisine from the region. So, Templars who were in France would have had the local cuisine there or what was available. And if they were in Israel, they would have had Middle Eastern food. They would have had, things like, the leavened bread or unleavened bread and hummus and chickpea, wine. They just would have took what's available locally.
Wine. Wine, good.
Yep, that works.
I read that they ate. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like the original founding Templars were nobility, so they were used to the best. They didn't live on a diet prior to being Templars of bread and water. They had the best of the best. They were, the upper echelons of society, and even as time passed on, I'm sure they didn't give everything up like that. Once you've had a nice claret, you're not going to give that up, are you? You're going to still have to have a nice glass of wine now and again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I read that they ate a lot of grain because it was easy to carry. They couldn't store the meat, so if they had meat, they would hunt like an animal that was small, like a rabbit or a small boar, because they didn't want to. They couldn't take it with them.
Well, that's how
it was a lot of grain.
That's how the Romans conquered Europe, because grain is the best logistical food to take with you, because not only can you carry it and use it, but you can plant it if you make a base camp and create crops. You can trade for it, and it doesn't rot, like meat or that. So grain has always been a key critical thing. But that's where the Templars had problems, in some of the Crusades going back, because it wasn't quite thought through when they were going to the Middle East, about how much water they'd need in certain environments. There was many crusades and battles where they were starving and thirsty because they didn't have enough provisions. It just wasn't always that well planned.
Yeah, that's sad to think about it. Really hard times for sure.
When you had the Battle of Hattin, on the horns of Hattin, they were absolutely parched with thirst, and that was part of the reason that they got in trouble. So logistics plays a massive part in warfare, whether all armies have faced that, and that's the barrier to success in many instances.
Exactly. I get a feedback again.
Or at least as McDonald's, Hamilton?
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, I have no problem. Amelia, I'm just looking at what's behind you. What's with the U.S. Army water bottle?
I'm impressed that you caught that. My nephew just bought that for me, and he surprised me by shipping it to me, because I have a rosary from World War I, and this is from World War I. It's actually dated on it, February, I believe, what was it? I have to check it. But yeah, he just gifted it to me last week. He's had it shipped to me. He's found it at an auction and he bid on it. And he's like, yeah, he's a good nephew. He's a really good. I'm very lucky. But yeah, it was really, really sweet when I saw it. I was just so overwhelmed. But he's like, oh, it's gonna go perfect in your office. I'm like, and I was thinking, and Michelle's like, I didn't know you collect anything World War I. I'm like, I don't. I have one rosary that a chaplain carried, and I have it with documentation on it. But yeah, so I whatever I see at an auction, I collect a lot of haunted stuff. I don't really, and this one, when I held it, gave me a ton of energy, and I could see the passageways and stuff like that. So I'd like to go into meditation with it to get more of a story on it. I've only had it for a few days.
So
that's impressive that you saw that. I've also got an exorcism box from the same era right next to it.
Okay.
It's not from the war. Yeah, that's from the 1900s.
That would have been inconvenient to be carting that thing around, just saying. Like boots on the
Just a
ground,
little
carrying your
bit,
exorcist box.
and I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure they had a need for it.
Oh, I'm sure.
With war, and then the rosaries that are on the Virgin Mary behind me are all auction pieces that I've purchased over the years that have come from different convents and different churches. And back then, the convents, they would have their own special rosary, the nuns, the priests, and they would pray on it. And there's some that you could see the wear in them, and they'd have it their whole lifetime. And when they passed away, they would take these rosaries and put them in the walls of the churches or the convents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when these churches and convents came down, I know someone who was picking up the pieces, and I bought a few. As you can tell, there's just a few.
Yeah.
But I love rosaries, so
And some
it's
of us
just a
just like
thing for me.
weapons.
Not that yeah,
So
it's not.
that's the only
Yeah, it's.
part that we're
You can't
polar
see the other side
opposites.
of my office.
I
Yeah,
buy
you can't
weapons.
see the other
She buys
the other
rosaries.
side of and crucifixes. I have a wall of crucifixes,
Oh.
like I'm just this far from a horror film. My wall, and I do have Templar. Thanks to Michelle, I do have a Templar cross on the wall, and a scene, so a print. But yeah, I can't. If I turn the computer, it'll be kind of weird. But
It'll get weird.
tons
If
of.
you
I
collect,
have
you collect.
crucifixes from the
Yeah.
1800s, from the 1900s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to make up for all my sins.
War stuff's not overly exciting. You know what I mean? Like it's just when you get it's nice.
It is
I
for me.
well, it is. I mean, I bought my son a Russian officer's sword, and I ended up with a whole collection of World War One and World War Two stuff. And I was like, because the elderly people didn't have family, and it came from England and Nazi Germany, and like a flag, big, crazy, monstrous flag. And she goes, "Well, you have to take everything, but I don't want everything. I just want the weapon." But it's like, no. So now I've got all this stuff. It's like boxed and stored, so because it doesn't blend in with anything. So it's nice.
I've got creepy stuff. Like I have stuff from asylums. I have glass syringes and the IV bottles with glass and the tube with glass. I got really creepy stuff. I just like to be. That's just me, though.
It's
I
just
like
being
having it around.
different,
Everybody's afraid to come in my office. It's hilarious because I have a couple dolls and stuff, but it keeps everybody out. It's my own space, so it's the only place I'm allowed in the house to have it.
No, it's everywhere here.
I don't think
Not my house. Yeah.
it's only people's perception on what's creepy. It's
That's right. Michelle has skulls.
I've got lots of human skulls and taxidermy and
it's like going to places, isn't it? Some places you can go to and you just walk through the door and immediately it's like, no, don't want to be here. This is horrible.
I've yet to find one. I'll go anywhere. I don't care. I'm brave.
I had a funny one years ago because my cousin, she was going out with this guy and he never told what he did for a living. So in the end, she said, "Look, if you don't tell me what you do for a living, that's the end of it. I'm going to call it a day on the relationship." So he wouldn't tell her, so she wouldn't answer his calls. And he kept banging on the door. He said, "I'm going to marry you. I'm going to marry you." And she said, "Well, you'll have to tell me what you do for a living." And it turned out he was an undertaker. His family were undertakers.
That's awesome, though.
So she
that
said,
wouldn't scare me, but the fact that he was knocking and banging, saying, "I'm going to marry you," would scare the crap out of me. I'd run the other way.
So she ended up marrying him. And not only did she end up marrying him, she ended up taking an embalming course, a funeral doctor.
Good for her.
And she loves the job and, embraced the whole thing. And I remember as a kid, I thought, "Oh, that's a bit weird." They invited us up for Sunday dinner once, and the house was above the funeral parlour. And I thought, "Oh, no, I can't be having my Sunday roast."
I've bought out funeral homes.
Like funeral
I had a huge funeral collection.
Yeah,
I just sold
like
most of the
funeral
funeral
homes as well.
collection.
Yeah.
Really? What did
I
you
have no problem because I have conversations with them, right? Being a medium, I'm constantly seeing spirits. So for me, it's just like walking into a room full of people. It's not the same. I don't have any Not at all. Like I could
I
walk
just
through the
watched
whole
a
thing in
horror
the
film.
dark, be fine.
Well, we
No.
saw horror films from America as kids, you know. There was one, oh God, I've seen loads of them, and it was just the Hammer House of Horrors, and you just think of, dead people, and it's like you're
But they
scared.
just make it worse than it
Hollywood.
has to be, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a good part of the house had like coffins and caskets and everything. I parted with a good chunk of it just last year, and I have one that I kept was an Oddfellows 1854 toe pincher coffin, and it had but they were using a paper mache skelly in it instead of obviously putting their grandmaster in there, and it's in beautiful condition. It's the only one out of everything that I've kept out of all my funerary pieces and the church pieces, and I've got skulls and skeletons, and I think somebody has to be
Yeah, I'm
caretaker
not
for them,
that
right?
extreme.
Yeah,
As collectors, you would have to understand that, right?
Yeah,
Like
totally. Yeah.
you have to, like my
We'll
oldest
we'll
skull
let
is like
Michelle do
600 or
that.
700 years old, like
Okay.
so somebody's got to watch
yeah,
out for it.
skulls and skeletons. I've got no problem with that. It's just there's a thing in my mind, a macabre sort of image as a kid of, you know, undertakers and all these scary things.
I don't
So,
do weird ceremonies with them or anything. That's what you're thinking. They're all
She
behind
just
glass,
takes
but
care of
I
them.
take care of
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just weird.
I mean, I think, yeah,
You
Sometimes,
get used to it after you've been to her house a few times, sitting in the dining room and looking at skulls and the curio is just
but it's
normal.
a medieval
You have to
dining
be
room.
there a few
Everything's just
times.
old and carved, and
did
they
you, did
blend
you
right
like
in the corner. It's
did you
just
like
like,
the Adams family when you was a child?
sorry,
Did you like the Adams family when you was a
very
child?
much so. And the
She
Munster
I
still
Brothers.
loved it.
does.
Yeah, I
It's
loved
actually my ringtone.
it.
Such a weirdo, but I
She
am.
still does. Yeah.
I do. It is. It's crazy, but I don't know. There's just some pieces like, some pieces just sort of call to you. There's a lot of stuff I got rid of. There's a lot of stuff that I believe, much like Hamilton, things find you and you end up having to take care of it. Like I said, I'm not big into the war stuff, as Hamilton can attest to with what little package I sent him. Here you go. This is so not for me. But you
That is
place
for a
things
special
where they
person,
need
though.
to be,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. It has to keep going on a journey. And eventually these pieces will find their way. And after a while, you just meet people and you're like, you know what? You're the person that should have this. And I'm sure there'll be other people I meet in my life that will look at parts of my collection and go, you know what? The journey won't end with me. It'll move on. I can't take it with me.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's best that it move on to somebody else who can do something with these pieces. Right. So
I already told my daughter after I updated my will, I said to her, I know it's going to be difficult for you to go through my office, but should I pass before Michelle, and I pray I do because I don't think I could handle her going first.
oh my
I
gosh.
said, you make sure that it goes to her and just let her come in and she'll take care of it. And she's like, okay, that works for me because she won't come in here. And the printer's in here. So when she prints something, she just leaves it there. And I have to find it and then deliver it to whoever just printed something. I'm like, really? It's not a big deal. I think my chair, that 500-year-old chair I have in the corner, is a lot more dangerous than the dolls or the water canteen or,
No, it's
the
fine now.
crosses. Yeah,
Took you a
it's
while,
fine
but
now. But I mean, for a long time, it was bad. But,
no, you're funny.
it's everybody has to there has to be a caretaker for everything, everything. And I think, what would we do without undertakers? They are a special kind of people.
I
They
love
really
them.
are, because they're
I
taking care of people at the worst point, period,
I,
after the
I met,
passing. And I have a great deal of respect for them.
I do. I met a girl, and I don't know how we got talking. And I said, "What you doing?" She said, "Oh, I address bodies at an undertaker's." And I said, "Can I ask you what, do you like doing it?" She said, "Oh, I love doing it." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, I get to look after them and present them for the families in the best possible light." And she said, "I'm proud of what I do." And she said, I thought, I totally get that. And I never even considered that type of world, before, and then we got talking about some of the funny aspects of it. She said about these thing called caps. I said, what are caps? She said,
God, I had so many of those.
she said,
Just put them
so
under.
when you die, the first thing that just drains away your eyeballs.
True.
So they've got these like caps that they just put in under your eyelids to give the illusion that your eyes are still there. But actually, there's
It's
very
true. If I would have known we were going to talk about this, I had pulled out some caps because I think I kept a couple of boxes out of like a gazillion that I had when I bought out a funeral home. Yeah.
so you
They're just
can't
Yeah, I don't
plastic
want to
things.
see that.
It's creepy when you see the children ones, though.
really.
Like this, I know it is. It is. There's
That's the
some
one thing I
stuff
can't
is-
handle.
No, that's
Yeah.
really. I had a lot of child funerary pieces, and they're really wiggy. They really are. So
Yeah, I
you
can't.
just
I
get to that
can't handle
point
that.
where
When you've
it's-
been to a funeral for a child, you cannot.
Mhm.
No, it's
No.
just too much. There's nothing like seeing that little casket. It just stays with you for the rest of your life. That's why I said I have a great deal of respect for these people.
Mhm.
I agree with you.
But
Yeah.
I mean, back to more exciting things like medieval stuff.
Yep.
Gloom and doom. We're going to talk gloom and doom. Let's get back into medieval gloom and doom.
Okay.
So, what do you have, Hamilton?
Well, there's a couple of things, but this was sort of just fresh in, which I didn't even know any existed.
Wow.
But that's actually a proper 12th century Templar ceramic drinking vessel. Not a ritual thing. I mean, that is as in, that's what they were using every day to day to have with their meals.
Oh, wow.
But beautiful,
They did-
very delicate, but with a little tiny hand-painted cross on it. It's
Lift it a
been
bit higher, Hamilton.
Say
You
again?
can't lift it a bit higher.
I won't.
Let's see the logo.
I can't
Oh, that is so pretty.
see.
Wow, that's amazing. My gosh.
Yeah.
What is that made of?
It's terracotta,
Ceramic. Yeah.
unglazed terracotta. So the shape.
Unglazed.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
mean, it's 12th
That
century.
fits right. Fits in with the poverty, chastity, and obedience,
yeah.
doesn't it? It's a very utilitarian, austere kind of very basic functional item.
Yeah.
The fact that it exists to me is fascinating because
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
not a really durable substance, you know?
No, I mean it's obviously been buried somewhere very dry, because I mean there's been no
Cold.
moisture to fetch it. But no, very unusual thing. I'd never seen one illustrated before. I mean, I've seen medieval pottery. I mean, I've had lots of that, but I've never actually seen something that you could positively say is Templar.
Wow.
So that's a good little thing. I mean, I don't quite know, because I can't see myself. I don't really know what you can see or what angle you're at.
Yeah, no, we could see the front. Yeah.
Oh, it's
I mean-
beautiful.
Yeah,
Super.
very delicate, a beautiful shape, very simple,
Wow.
super little thing. So that's just come in fairly recently.
Wow. That is a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
And again, it's very simplistic. And again, the fact that it even exists to me is just like
Weird, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean the lifespan of those things, even when they were made, they'd have just been broken and thrown away. They certainly wouldn't have been something that was greatly cared for. It was the most basic form of pottery you could get.
Mhm.
And just simple utility, probably cheaply made. Or
It's not glazed, is it?
no, totally unglazed. No, the early stuff like this.
Oh, they
wasn't
wouldn't.
really glazed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
great little thing. Complete oddity. It's just very simple. When you look at something like that, it's not worth massive money, but it's probably as rare as a chalice. Well, it's probably rarer. We've got 7 or 8 chalices, but we've only got one of these.
Them chalices, aren't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
Fabulous.
chalices are durable.
Somebody probably used that to cook and to measure out things, and the story behind that for me is more interesting than the others, because
Almost.
it's
Yeah.
real and it's normal.
they?
Yeah.
It kind of shows the everyday life of a Templar, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Well, they're probably very similar to how monks lived, when they're in the sort of digs wherever they're staying, because it's very simple food again, isn't it? Gruel and like grain and wine and water and so a bit of fruit, and anything that's going really. you know.
Mm.
It's funny that you said monks because Michelle bought me a ring that it was 15th century, right? And it's bronze.
Mm.
Ring
I
that
can't
you
remember.
bought me.
I just
I
got. I
have
was
the
like, that
paperwork
was
with it.
that
It's
looks like an Amelia thing. So
I have it with a
it's
hagstone.
Jesuit.
And the interesting thing about Jesuit, and the interesting thing about this ring is that it fits every finger on my hand,
What, all
which
six?
is really bizarre. Pardon?
All six?
All six.
What have you
Mutant
been
is what he's
drinking?
saying.
I only have 4. I only have 4.
So, yes,
But
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
What makes it Jesuit? Do they have specific imagery or logos? I mean, again, it's not
It's
something
got
I
the
know.
symbols on it. I don't know. Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
cross. It's
I
the
no
cross
longer
on
have
it, and it's the cut. I have it. It's in my hutch, and
Yeah.
it's got the cuts
Next
in
show.
the band. And
Yeah.
show. I'll have it with the hagstone, which is really
Okay.
cool. But
From Jerusalem. Yeah.
I wear it
Everything
when
has
we
meaning.
work.
Uh,
Yeah,
everything
not
has
the
meaning.
radio show, but I wear it when we work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like I say, I always try to seek out unusual pieces, even for myself or my kids basically were raised with antiquities,
Hmm.
and that's the way it is. It's just, from a very, very early age, they had an appreciation for really old pieces, you
Hmm.
know, especially, swords and rifles and,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, whatever. My daughter's like, yeah, I'm not into that. The boys like, yeah. So
Great things for kids to grow up with strong memories that you've done that for them, because it enriches them so much, and I think it expands their imagination because they're getting close to things like that. I think it's fantastic.
it teaches history, culture, and I think that's really important. It's like it's fine to do all the modern day stuff, the video games, and they've always leaned towards more medieval type video games also. Like I really got to see by nurturing them so young on all of that stuff that those are the type of games that they would choose, building a city. And it was very, very involved, and it's like, okay, I'm glad to see you actually got something out of everything I've tried to teach you. I'd had to heckle with a few teachers along the way, but otherwise it's okay. So
Did
but
they take the sword to show and tell?
I
Because that
think
could be
one
a
of them, the
problem at
samurai
school.
sword, yeah, I
That
think
could
it
be a
might have
problem
went.
at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't go waving that around at school. You're liable to take somebody's head off. Don't do that.
Yeah. If you go to
but
school downtown Toronto, you can't even get past the
no.
metal detector at the front door with that. So just saying.
Mm. Like you wouldn't be able to sneak in a Templar sword. Let's put it that way.
No. Okay, fair
Things
enough.
are like 50 feet long.
You wouldn't be able to sneak in a wired bra in a metal detector at school.
So
No.
that brings me to a question, because you guys have a couple of Templar swords, yes?
Well, there's only one Templar sword out of the Horde, which was the
Okay.
one that was in Series 1. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of other swords of the same sort of period, but it's only really that one that you can try and sensibly say is Templar.
Okay, because my question was, I would have thought that they would be fairly difficult to find because many Templars were buried with their swords.
I don't
Is
think
that
any
correct?
Templar. No, I don't think any Templars at all were buried with swords.
Oh, that's funny, because I spoke with somebody one time who was, self-proclaimed, I mean, this was his thing, was swords, and he had a large collection of swords, and he would do repairs on them. That was his thing, repair them, try to restore them. And he said, well, you couldn't find them because they buried them with them. I'm like, that's a freaking
He
waste.
can't hear you.
I know.
He can't even hear
Yeah, I
you
know.
right now.
Are you hearing me, Hamilton?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, sorry.
There you go. All right.
Just wandering around my office. No, completely wrong. They didn't bury them with swords.
Wow.
The only burials that tended to be with swords are the vast majority tend to be royalty. There's been a number of royal tombs in England and in Spain that have been opened up where they've been buried with a sword. But
Wow.
the average fighting man, and certainly the Templars, at that period, swords were just too valuable. I mean, it would have been considered
makes
utterly
sense.
wasteful, and things were reused and reused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes the most
total
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
So no, that's a little inaccuracy. And I mean, the other things, I mean, as Carl pointed out, the early Templar burials, the legs were broken and folded up, and they were actually buried in much smaller coffins than regular tombs were. So you wouldn't have physically fitted a sword in.
That's just crazy to break everything.
It would. Nobody really knows why, but it just seems to be something that they did. There's no
It is
explanation.
possible that they were influenced by the Constantine cross, though, because that's how skull and crossbone things has got a similarity with the Chiron and the plasm for the pirate chick. There are some markers with skull and crossbones on them, so maybe they were influenced by that the iron, because it's the sign of the cross of Christ, really, And if you follow the sign of the cross that was emblazoned in the sky, it's the path to righteousness and victory, and that might have been unique as a warrior's way of burial.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, when you go back to earlier periods in history, the Vikings tended to bury their warriors with all of their weapons.
Mm.
It was a tradition then that you went into the afterlife with everything that you needed, the same as the Egyptians buried everything in the pyramids. It was just
The Celtic leaders were
exactly the same.
Chariots and swords and food bowls and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe within the Christian tradition, perhaps you didn't need anything where you were going and there was no need to bury you with all your finery. I don't know, but certainly the Templar tradition wasn't burying you with weapons or anything really. And the vast majority went into unmarked graves. I mean, it wasn't, you didn't, other than an occasional Grand Master, the average Templar who died, that was it. He went in an unmarked grave with more or less the same grave decoration right across the whole Templar world. The gravestones in the Middle East are the same as the ones you see in France, Spain, and Portugal. It was just, that's what you got, a very simple cross headstone, and you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Italians will not permit any jewelry in the casket. Because I remember when my mom was really sick, she said to me, make sure there isn't anything there. And I didn't understand. That was the first time I heard it. But where we're from, anyway, Southern Italy, there is not to be any jewelry buried with you.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Why? What's the reasoning for that?
Supposed to go. You're supposed to go back in humble, other than the clothing that is on you.
Okay.
Aside from grave robbers.
No, it's all about the gold and the not even a wedding band. She's like absolutely nothing. Because I remember my brother put a locket in and my father just lost it on him. It's like, you have to take that out. And he's like, it's not yellow gold though. And my father goes, you don't understand. It's jewelry. It's what she wanted. So yeah, I had to do that stupid run over with my dad to make sure that we didn't go through the same thing again. But it's a belief in that they have.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because if you look at a lot of the relics across in the cathedrals and churches across Europe, a lot of them are adorned with or embellished with, gilding and jewelry and garnets and emeralds and pearls, and so you can be talking of a casket with the bones of some saint in it, and it's highly, decorated with and embellished with very, very fine, stones and, beautiful panelled silver sections and that. So It's slightly different, isn't it? You know, but I suppose
It's different. Padre Pio, St. Pio, is actually in a glass casket where he's observed at his church, San Giovanni di Rotondo. And, that's all part to show because he was the full stigmata, but nothing in the casket with him.
No.
No adorning on the sides, nothing, just glass so that they can view him.
Wow. Okay. And that's just in Italy, or is that in other places? I mean, that wasn't something
I'm not sure. I just know that where we come from, the region where we come from in southern Italy is just that way. It's very, very simple in that way.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't never heard that before.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I didn't either until she passed away. I had no idea.
Wow. Okay.
So,
I mean, I'm not fussed. I don't really care whether they bury me with anything or throw me in a skip. It doesn't matter to me. But I
No,
can actually see.
the only thing I'm like you, I
my
don't care because I'd say leave it up to who's left behind. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll sort it out. But I can see,
I
like,
had a conversation with my dad years before he died, and he said, "Listen," he said, "when I snuff it," he said, "I want you to
Snuff it.
I want you to phone the Liverpool Echo." Now, the Liverpool Echo is a newspaper for Liverpool. It's like the big sort of paper. And there's an obituary column in it, and everyone in Liverpool, it seems to be a preoccupation. Everyone every week reads the obituaries because everyone knows everyone, even though it's a city, it's a small family. So as a kid, I remember my mum and all my aunties, "Oh, I see such a person's died." It was in the obituaries. And each family member would write a little description or a little prayer or something. And I was talking to my dad, we was having a whiskey session one night, and he said, "Listen," he said, "when I snuff it, I want you to phone the Liverpool Echo and put an obituary in for me." I said, "Okay." I said, "What do you want me to say?" So he told me what he wanted me to say, and sadly he died in 2008. And so I phoned the Liverpool Echo up, and I'm speaking to this woman on the phone, and she said, "Okay, so what do you want to say?" I said, "It's very simple." I said, "It's Harry Cookson's dead. So what?"
brilliant.
And she,
That's what he wanted.
Yeah, brilliant.
He wouldn't print it. She said, "Oh, we couldn't print that." I said, "That's what he wanted." And he wouldn't dare. My dad would have had a right good laugh if he had done that. But,
He wouldn't do it?
he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. I thought it was bad. But, my dad always said, like Hamilton, he said, "When I snuff it," he said, "you can throw me in a garbage truck if you want. It's only my body. It doesn't matter." Because
My parents both had like what they wanted, and my dad would tell me a little bit over time. And his cousin, the only thing that we buried him with, other than the rosary beads in his hands, were medals that he was given. And I was asked for permission to be able to do that first. So.
Yeah. I mean, some people put whiskey in the coffin, don't they, to give them a drink to take. I've been to funerals where
Hamilton, look, he's thinking about it. He's going,
yeah,
I can have
you
whiskey.
pour some on the ground for them. We put casino chips in my brother's because my brother was always at the casino.
Hamilton's and potato chips too?
Yeah.
No,
Whiskey
casino.
and potato chips? I see his wheels turning now.
Yeah, the cogs are going around, yeah.
My brother loved the casino, so everybody was dropping casino coins in the
chips. Right. Yeah. So that's funny.
It was loaded. Yeah.
Well, I think funerals are for the benefit of the people who are still alive, not for the dead person.
Absolutely.
They can have a bit of fun round the grave, throwing in casino chips or pouring some whiskey in. It lightens everything up and it gives you a good memory, other than this depressed.
I'm sure it would lighten a lot.
We did a whiskey shot for my godfather outside before putting him in the mausoleum. They were pouring shots, and I don't drink whiskey. I don't drink at all. So that was like. But you do it out of respect because, it was for him kind of thing. But
in Liverpool, I mean, obviously we've got a big Irish sort of influence because A lot of the people, in fact, part of my family come from Ireland, and the wake. It's not. We don't call it a wake in Liverpool, but there's definitely a big piss up after a funeral. Everyone goes for a reception, and it usually used to be in people's houses, and all the aunties would make what we call a spread. There'd be egg mayonnaise sandwiches, little pies, little sausages, and all sorts of food. And then people did have one a few drinks, and they'd all be very somber and very dignified. And by the second drink, they'd all go, "Rah!"
Yeah. Telling all the poor man's deepest, darkest secrets because he's not there to defend himself.
What did the Templars do? How did they handle a burial?
We don't know what the ceremony is, do we?
No, I mean that's I don't know the answer to that. I don't think I've ever read anything about it beyond it was just a very, very simple grave and it was unmarked. I don't know what the ceremonies were.
This is
interesting since they were so spiritual.
I mean, I'd imagine that because they were in Temple Mount, and a lot of the knowledge has come from there, with possibly the ceremonies and that there may have been some influence from the people of that region, the traditions and ways that people were buried there. Maybe if we looked into that as a field of study, you'd probably find something that might correlate to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I suspect that certainly over in the Middle East, it would just be disposing of the body as quick as possible because, I mean, in the Middle Eastern climate...
That is their tradition, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still to this day, 24 hours.
Yeah. Even in, for example, in Serbia and Bosnia, people are buried the day after they're died. You don't wait around. And you look at the UK and the Western Europe and America, it's become an industry. It's a cash industry that generates big revenue. So, you can have a shiny coffin, you can have a matte coffin, you can get a bronze one, you can
gold one,
have these gilt handles. What type of car do you want? Do you want a gown? It's like, what extras do you want? Do you want a super size the job?
You go through showrooms of caskets.
Yeah,
caskets, the rosaries,
everything.
I
used to have one.
It's a business.
And it's like
I could have done carriage hearse, everything. I could have done a whole freaking funeral.
It's like I think it's like,
right. I know that would have been a lot of fun.
Oh my Lord. Yeah.
Not anymore.
I'm not that comfortable. Yeah, I'm not that comfortable with it. Just not.
I just think it's dragging on too long in the West. And years ago, I was thinking, why can't they make it a bit more exciting? They could make if you could get in touch with NASA and develop like a star-shaped sort of coffin, and you could send it up in the shuttle, and then you could pick which star you want it sent to, and we can watch it from Earth, and then they just lift your coffin out of the payload, and it's got like these little sort of retro thrusters on, and they point it to Orion or wherever you want it to go, and it sets you off on that journey forever. The only trouble is, if you wake up, some aliens might get hold of you and wake.
That's right. I know.
Wow.
I think they did that to Gene and Mabel Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek.
Yeah, they sent
Did they?
He's in space. They're both in space.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He passed first, waited for Majel, is that her name, for her to pass, and they were both put on one of the space shuttles, I believe, and dropped in space or like out someplace floating around.
Oh.
I know. There's a company I saw years ago. They'll turn your ashes into a diamond, and you can actually wear your relative.
Yeah. That's probably what I'll do.
Yeah.
But, Wayne Mallows asks, dying on the battlefield, did they leave them where they fell odd? Did they collect the bodies?
Hamilton was like, what?
Or did they collect the bodies for the Templars? Yeah.
again, it's down to logistics, isn't it? Because if you think about it, for example, if they had a big battle in the Middle East and they lost against, say, Saladin or that, there wasn't a chance to collect bodies in those instances, and they were getting beheaded and murdered.
They were greatly outnumbered.
So it wasn't like we'll have our bodies back and we'll take them to our local cemetery. But then you've got Templars that were in, fortresses like the one in Le Couvertoirade in France, a beautiful little fortress with a tiny graveyard, and I think there's about 8 to 10 markers in there. Now, they could have been Templars that, survived and lived and died there naturally and were given a dignified burial. So, it's just going to be a mixture, isn't it? It's a bit like, if you imagine like World War II, when the Americans and the Canadians were over in France, in Ypres, and places like that, a lot of them are buried there. There was no repatriation because the budget didn't allow that. Governments are happy to send people over to die, but they're not happy enough to provide the funds to repatriate the body and bring them back. So I would imagine, going back in the medieval period, would have been similar. There wouldn't have been the resource in battle to bring people back, unless he was someone special, like we've said with the guy we've got the sword from that we believe is his sword. And
that's fascinating.
I mean,
Wayne says
fascinating.
Thank you. Makes sense.
On certainly in Western Europe, I mean, a great number of the medieval battlefields, even coming up to the 18th century, they tended to have burial pits where, it was a mixture that, like Carl says, you couldn't move the body, so it tended to be either burial pits or burial mounds. I mean, even going into the 18th century at Culloden up in Scotland, there's quite a number of what they refer to as clan graves, where they've just thrown each member of the same clan together. And I mean, there's been a very famous burial pit excavated in Denmark. And it was one of the few places that, they don't know why, but they actually threw the dead bodies in still wearing their armour, because normally armour was stripped off. And there's been, in the south of England fairly recently, there's been a burial pit excavated from the Viking era with about 20 or 30 bodies in it.
I read about that.
So it was probably just a convenient, well, we're not going to cart them off anywhere, you just dig a pit and throw them all in it, and they're all unidentified, they all died in the same battle, you all go in the same hole.
And you also got to remember with the Templars, they were big Christians, and they definitely believed in the afterlife and God and the salvation. It didn't matter whether they died on the back. Obviously it mattered, but they didn't see their body as the totality of themselves. The spirit and their consciousness and the soul was eternal. So your body's a bit of a sideshow, it's not.
It didn't matter at all.
Literally not the end of the world.
Wow. Well, it's sad to think about it when you think, like, not just, the Templars, but just soldiers in general, to not have proper burial, to never make their way home, to just be shoved in a pit, but spiritual people do believe that once, the body is done, it's done. It's only the vessel. The essence does continue on. And at the end of the day, that's, they were very spiritual. They had, I think, the knowledge that they acquired on the Temple Mount, which was basically, everybody seems to think that the treasure was a physical treasure, but I think there was a lot of knowledge, written knowledge, that they were also looking for, that would have really added to that spirituality and what came afterwards. There's a lot of stuff that went on at Temple Mount.
And if you think about burial and memorials and gravestones, they in the hierarchy, the kings, it's still about power even in death. The mausoleums and the places of burial are actually places to tell the rest of the lower classes that these are your leaders, this is your lineage, and it's a power play of the past is actually a power play to maintain the power for the future.
Mm.
In death, so for the next succession, and it's like this family, this royal family is powerful, and you will see their grave forever. It's going to be protected by the people today, and it's going to be a better grave than Joe Public's grave, and that's the same all over the world for anybody who's in power. It's just another play on the whole game of control and the power of dynasty.
I agree.
Well, it is if you look at a lot of the sort of funerary monuments in England from the medieval period. I mean, they're made of marble that was shipped over from Italy. They brought craftsmen over to actually carve them. There was more effort put into a grave than probably most people's houses or eating vessels or anything they own. Just to demonstrate, like Carl says, even in death, we're still here. It's the funerary traditions, it was carved in the likeness of the dead person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly with knights, even the sort of knights that actually made it back and died in relatively old age, all of the funerary effigies of knights, they always seem to depict the knight in his prime when he was in his sort of mid-30s. You'll never find a funerary monument that actually shows an old man knight, because it was the same thing. It was just demonstrating this is who he was in his lifetime. Wasn't he powerful and great?
And it's the same. It's the same with the paintings, the commissioned paintings for in the Renaissance period. Rich families would commission a biblical painting of apostles and that, but they made sure that the characters were portraits of the family members to immortalize them and to give them the same level of prestige and piety and authority that they themselves venerated in a specific apostle. So it's vanity coming into play again, isn't it?
I'd have myself painted as Ronald McDonald with the great big shoes and the wig.
God, I know you would. Would you still have the hat on if you had the wig? Yeah. Just have the red hair coming out underneath it.
Wouldn't that make a fantastic gravestone? Instead of having a funerary monument of a knight, you have like this huge Ronald McDonald to be buried under.
I have tons of stuff from McDonald's from the 70s as a kid, though. Like their cups, the Hamburglar. Remember him?
Yeah.
I have all of those. Yeah. Well, that was it was a big treat being Italian to be eating a hamburger out. Like it just didn't happen. Eating out didn't happen, period. As an Italian,
that's
when
what
I was
Hamilton was trying to say. It's like a treat every day when he gets to go to McDonald's.
No, it's changed. You have to remember, from when we were growing up to now, it's changed a great deal. All the fast food industry has.
Kids, it wasn't restaurants. It was. I think when we was going on holiday once to Cornwall, we stopped once and found a restaurant, but it was, eating out was going to fish and chip shop maybe once a week.
Even for us, yeah.
But it was, my mum cooked at home and we just had plain food, it was meat and veg and a few potatoes and a variety. Yeah. We did it.
I made fish and chips last week. Beer battered too. Beer battered. Yeah.
Oh, it's the fish thing again.
I love cooking. I'll put chicken in it for you.
I don't mind halibut. I'm okay with halibut.
That's what I make.
When I'm in Rome, I do like the Romans. I've tried all kinds of crazy things. I'm not fond of things that crawl along the bottom of the ocean and eat ew, whatever. And then
Nutella on pizza, though.
Yeah, just like shellfish and stuff. Is like, I don't think so. What have you eaten today? I'm not eating that lobster. No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing.
We filmed a sequence when we were over in Santiago de Compostela, which I think was the last thing we did there in a very traditional Spanish restaurant, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That
it was
they
like,
were chosen, and they were trying to get me to eat it's a clam, isn't it? It was a
no,
clam.
See, right there, like, ew.
that was a scallop, like a San Jac scallop, the classic
Oh,
scallop.
scallops are amazing if you do them right.
Hamilton and I are both
Oh
sitting
my,
going, ooh.
scallops are amazing.
Yeah,
No, no.
Right from the sea, the divers, you have to have the diver's scallop. They have to be dry and you sear them with Calabrian chilies. Oh my God,
I would
they're
rather
so
eat
good.
freaking McDonald's. I'm with Hamilton on that.
Scallops, but a scallop, when you cook a scallop, it's like eating a thick piece of like white fish. It's not what you think. It's not slimy or
Well,
anything, and
you
it
rock
doesn't
on with your
taste like
bad self
fish.
and eat as many as you would like. You can
Damn
have my share.
straight, man. I do. I
Okay.
eat like 10 at a time. I love them. I mean,
that's
tons of
when
garlic and hot chilies. Yeah.
you go to the Isle of Man when you go the Grand Prix or the TT, and they sell a scallop called a queenie, and the miniature scallops, they're about the size of a
Yes.
cent. They're a really tiny scallop, but
They're sweet.
yeah, but I love.
I use those in risotto. I make risotto with those.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
It always ends up
Hamilton
on
and I are
food, and
just
Joel's
like,
listening too. Oh, seafood
no.
risotto is just amazing. But my
Maybe
favorite
if you
is with
drench it in
truffles.
wine, maybe. Maybe then I would
I mean,
try it.
I'd never
Oh,
even
risotto is started with wine.
I'd
Yeah.
never even seen a clam before. I didn't know what it was, and they kind of
You live
plot
in England. There's
put
fish surrounding you. What do you mean?
thing on the table. I mean, Carl was up for it. He's adventurous with food. But I mean, I just looked at this thing. It looked like something you coughed up. I mean, the idea of actually putting
I'm with
Scallop
him.
doesn't
I'm
look.
with
A clam looks like you coughed it up.
Yeah, totally with
No,
Hamilton
scallops
on
are
that.
divine.
Oh
Scallops
my
are
gosh.
so good. Yeah.
But it
I
actually came
love
out of
scallops.
He's saying it looks like something you coughed up, but he's
We gotta get off there.
noodles and kebabs. I mean, some of these kebabs, God knows how many different deceased farm animal carcasses one kebab made of.
That's in a McDonald's burger. Just saying.
Go to these most dubious environments at 2 a.m. to get a doner kebab. And there's a guy there, a big thing loaded with meat, and there must be 30 anonymous deceased carcasses all over. Then the fella's shaving.
No different than eating a hot dog, really.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh, Wayne
You-
says good night, everyone. Thanks
you-
so much, lads. Love your stories. Best of
Okay,
luck
bye.
on season 2.
Oh,
Cheers.
thank you very much.
But
Yeah, it's already that stinking time too. Damn. That's already, yeah. We're gonna get like spanked, not in a good way if we don't get off on this.
We've talked a lot about death tonight, haven't we, for some reason? About the Dead People show.
well, life's hard, then you die. So
The Dead People show, is this something I want to know about?
I'm just saying,
Probably.
our conversation tonight's generally been about dead people, about the dead.
It really has. But I always say it's sort of off the cuff with you guys, and it's sort of whichever way the show goes, we just sort of roll with it. So it's just part of letting people get to know who you guys are, because when you do, and I mean, coming from doing a lot of television myself, you only catch snippets, and it's usually pretty much scripted snippets. It's not off the cuff. And a lot of comments that I've received about the shows that you guys have been on was just like, it was so nice to see them just have fun and let loose and talk about whatever you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I thought,
easier.
I like it.
It is. But sometimes, like, before you come on, you're thinking, oh, I hope we are we going to come up with anything interesting? You don't know. It's like, it's pot luck, isn't it, really? Because you don't know whether...
You're on the right show. Just follow suit. And eventually,
Just go with it.
it all comes out. It doesn't matter. We
You
all
know,
determine that Hamilton loves McDonald's, even has freaking golden arches, and some of us don't favor it at all. Okay, we talked about how freaking what is it that looks like somebody died or barfed? What were we talking about? Clams?
Water.
Clams.
Oh my
Scrab-
God.
So you see right there, like, we've learned that Hamilton, not so fond of clams. Carl,
Not
we'll
fond
go
of
with it.
anything but burgers, kebabs, and fries.
Yeah, see, but I can relate to
Shorter
that.
list. It's a shorter list if you ask him what he likes.
we have the same drill with Hamilton. When we go filming, what usually happens, we're up at like 6:30. We have our breakfast and we're on location about 8:30. So then we don't get back to the hotel till about 7:45, 8 o'clock. Quick shower, and then we meet the crew at a restaurant for dinner. And it's the same story every time. So the waiter comes round, we're all made up to be in a different country ordering food. And then he goes, Hamilton,
Hate
and he goes,
it.
right, I don't want anything you've got there. He said, but I'll have the steak. And the waiter goes, yes, how do you like it cooked? He says, can you incinerate it for me, please? He goes,
Incinerate it.
he goes, yes. He says, imagine it's been in a nuclear explosion, black. Can you do it like that? And they don't believe him, so they go in the kitchen. They
Back
come
he
back,
goes.
well done, and he sends it back till it's like a rubber boot sole.
Yeah.
I mean,
You offended many chefs, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah, even I like mine pretty much walking off the plate. So
Yeah.
I tell you what, in France, it's virtually impossible to get that done because
Yeah.
if you ask for well done, bien cuit, it's called in their language, well done. If you ask for your steak bien cuit, that means well done, but in actual fact, it's probably for an English person, medium, what their well done is, because they like it blue. They really like it. They'll just touch it on the pan and it's cooked. Not for
Yeah, I
Hamilton.
can't eat it that way. My daughter can, but I can't.
No, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my gosh.
my steak looks like, imagine cutting a piece out of this chair you're sitting on. That's what my steak
Oh,
would
yeah.
look like.
Your leather.
I'll just give me shoes sometimes
Yeah.
for the dinner because it's
I
better.
don't think he'd know the difference.
Just get him a portion of chips and give him one of
Just
me
throw it on the grill.
salt and
Well,
pepper.
that's what we had. While Carl was tucking into his clams, I had two great big platefuls of chips. We couldn't go near it. It just turned my stomach.
They're funny. I'm just saying. I think dinner would just be an adventure with you. Honestly. I know. But I dibs the chalice. I want wine in the chalice. I don't care if it poisons me. I'll get through it.
Oh my God.
Well, the filming we've got coming up now is sort of, that's it, series over and done with. So it's our final chance to abuse the hospitality account, and we're going to hit it next week. We really are. If there's any budget left, we're drinking it. Trust me.
I look forward to your photos on Facebook.
Well, before we get like totally scolded, I actually have to sign off the show. I know. Well, I went over because we had such a dang mix-up in the beginning, but I was such a pleasure having you guys on. You guys are back on in August, so you have time. I guess you're going to be filming, probably starting another project, and you have lots of time to build something up. But I look forward to, again, watching your adventures on social media. You guys are both really great, especially Carl at posting everything, and just keep getting the fans just riled up for what's coming next. So thank you for joining us. I really look forward to the next show.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you guys, Amelia and Michelle. It's great. We love coming on your show because
we love Folgers coffee. It's great.
That a boy, Hamilton. Look at you go.
You got it.
Woo.
You got it.
Yeah.
I'll send you a McDonald's gift card. I'll send you a gift card to McDonald's.
There we go.
Take it with you to Spain.
Yeah, at Universal, have it anywhere. Mind you, with that being said, I could not use a Canadian Starbucks card in frickin' England. Okay, so what the hell? We're part of the Commonwealth, and they wouldn't let me
Wow.
use it. I'm like, bastards. So, yeah,
Her
so much for that.
face is on all of our money.
I
Face.
don't know what to tell you. It was on the dang
Wow.
phone too. You know, travel light, they say. All right, everything's in the damn phone. Still couldn't get a damn Starbucks website. So anyway, love you, Starbucks. But that was not your finest moment. Anyway. So
You can
guys, we
use some
shall
Barbados, just saying.
we shall see you guys in a couple of months. So please take care of yourselves. Have fun, travel safely,
Enjoy.
and
And thanks
Yeah.
for everyone listening. Appreciate all your comments and for watching us. It's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Nice one.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you
Cool.
guys.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
whenever. When
Thank
did you
you,
say
Russ.
August? We're back, are we?
Yeah.
August. Okay.
We'll remind you.
I could go on for another hour, but I'd probably get fired. So,
Surprise.
bye guys. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Well, everyone, we've come to the end of another fantastic segment here in the Outer Realm. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. Huge thank you to Carl Cookson and Hamilton White from the Lost Relics of the Knights Templar. If you haven't seen the show yet, go out of your way to find it. It's just awesome. Discovery Channel here in the US has it. And of course, you can find it all over the UK, I'm sure. But remember to stop by YouTube, International Public Radio, UFO Paranormal YouTube channels, and subscribe. Head on over to the Outer Realm on Facebook and Instagram. Give us some love. If you'd like to see any guest or topic on the show, thinking of appearing yourself, well, give us a just drop us a line. Can't give us a call on the outer realm contact at gmail.com. That's the outer realm contact at gmail.com. So join us tomorrow night as we welcome back Fritz Zimmerman to the show. He's going to be discussing giants, mounds, crop circles, you name it. He's got it. It's sure to be a good time. So see you tomorrow night. Y'all behave. Good night.